From our studio in Kuching, Sarawak, this is TVS Nightline. You're with me, Douglas Elliott, and let's begin with our top story. Although yet to be fully completed, the flood mitigation project along the Sarawak Coastal Road, covering areas under the Integrated Regional Samarahan Development Agency, or IRSDA, has shown its effectiveness in preventing saltwater from entering Sebuyau.
Aset selesai 657 juta 657 juta untuk kita membangunkan benteng di seluruh kawasan ini, termasuklah daripada Asajaya dekat Tamirat masuk ke peninsula Sebuyau, Sebangan, dan ini akan memberikan kesan dari sudut pembangunan pertanian dan juga jalan di kawasan ini.
Commenting on the water issues in the areas recently, Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said the situation will be rectified soon.
Apa yang nak sebutkan di sini bahawa kawasan ini akan membangun cepat dengan adanya pembangunan infrastruktur yang kita bangunkan di seluruh kawasan ISDA.
Abang Johari was met by reporters during a working visit to Sebuyau. Also present was Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture Sarawak, Dato' Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, and Assistant Minister of Infrastructure and Port Development Sarawak, Dato' Julaihi Narawi.
The local knowledge approach, or taking into account the people's view and involvement, is a fundamental aspect in implementing various development projects in the state. Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan stressed that information from the people is important in ensuring that every project implemented by the state government meets the need of the people, as well as avoiding projects being disrupted due to lack of information.
Awang Tengah said in development planning, it is necessary for agencies and project consultants to meet with the people involved as well as local residents to obtain detailed information, especially in rural areas and the interior of Sarawak.
Standalone system for water supply. Dan memanglah mereka melantik konsultan, tapi dengan pertemuan kita dengan pemimpin masyarakat, walaupun tak ramai, but because of this SOP perlu kita patuhi, but the local people dapat memberi input. Jadi daripada sana kita nampak bahawa penting dalam pelaksanaan setiap projek.
Awang Tengah, during his recent 3-day working visit to Bak Kelalan from November 1st, among other things, held a briefing session with various related agencies and leaders of ethnic groups, as well as local residents in Long Semado and Long Sukang. The working visit was also joined by Deputy Transport Minister Dato' Henry Sum Agong, who is also Lawas Member of Parliament, Assistant Minister of Agriculture Modernisation, Customary Land and Regional Development Dato' Abdul Rahman Ismail, and heads of state government departments and agencies. Commenting on the visit, Awang Tengah said that the program provided an opportunity for the people and the Sarawak government and its agencies to communicate and exchange views on the problems and needs of the locals. Apart from that, he said that the working visit gave exposure to the people on efforts and assistance that have been implemented and provided by the Sarawak government, led by the Gabungan Parti Sarawak under Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg.
Menerusi lawatan saya ini, saya dapat banyak input dan juga cadangan-cadangan daripada masyarakat setempat. Dan saya membawa sama beberapa agensi dan jabatan-jabatan kerajaan untuk menerangkan kepada penduduk-penduduk yang berkenaan, terutama sekali dari ketua-ketua masyarakat, orang-orang muda, tentang perancangan-perancangan yang akan kita buat.
Politicians should stop picking on UNDI 18 issues as it could cause unnecessary confusion and further misinformation among the rakyat. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Parliament and Law, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the reason UNDI 18 cannot be implemented before 31st December of this year was because the Election Commission was not ready on its implementation system.
On November 3rd, Wan Junaidi told the Dewan Rakyat that the amendments to the federal constitution related to the lowering of the voting age to 18 cannot be implemented immediately after the bill was approved in 2019, as several matters must be resolved first. Wan Junaidi explained when the federal constitution was amended in 2019 to lower the voting age to 18, it also came concurrently with automatic registration of voters, adding that there are many aspects of the implementation and system that the EC needs to resolve, namely on logistics matters, voters registration, as well as updating the electoral roll. The Election Commission was given a time frame until 2023 before the 15th general election to resolve the issues. He assured that the process will be completed by September 2022 in order for the system to run smoothly. Acknowledging the many events that unfolded, such as the change in government to the COVID-19 outbreak, which had disrupted the implementation process, he said the EC will abide with the Kuching High Court's decision to implement the lowering of the voting age from 21 to 18 by December 31st at the latest. Wan Junaidi said the implementation of UNDI 18 and automatic voters registration would see more than a 40% increase, or 6.1 million, in the number of voters to 21.2 million from 14.9 million voters registered in the 14th general election.
Gabungan Party Sarawak, or GPS, is confident with the credibility of its candidate who will be contesting in the upcoming state election. According to the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Malaysia, Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri, the party will not be naming any candidate unless he or she is the most best and most winnable candidate.
Kalau dari pemerhatian saya lah, dari terutama sekali I don't want to be seen as biased, tapi saya lebih bercakap mengenai ahli-ahli berhormat dari GPS sebab kami mengetahui perkembangan apa mereka buat, so we can see that persediaan itu sudah ada. Walaupun dalam keadaan kita ada SOP ke apa, we are always in contact with the rakyat, sama ada secara fizikal ataupun secara online ataupun dalam program kita melalui penyampaian bantuan membuat, membina, repair rumah yang betul-betul diperlulah oleh rakyat, memang sampai kepada mereka.
At the same time, Nancy mentioned if a new candidate were to be named, it will not pose any problem to GPS as preparations had been made even before the State Legislative Assembly was dissolved.
So dari segi persediaan tu memang sudah ada. So insya-Allah lah kalau bila dah dipanggil untuk pilihan raya, melainkan orang baru pun akan mengganti orang yang lama. Dan diharapkan apa yang telah dilakukan dan telah menjadi budaya kita. This is our budaya. Talking dan Ken ni budaya dia lain, tapi ini budaya politik, ini sudah menjadi budaya kita dalam politik. We have to make sure that kita menjalankan perkhidmatan kita, memberi perkhidmatan terbaik kepada rakyat.
A total of 300 participants participated in the Bicara Sejarah Sarawak program, which was held for the first time. The program aims to give exposure and knowledge to Sarawakians about the state's rich history and the role of its native people, which are explored in talks given by recognized historians. Gracing the opening ceremony today was the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri.
Program Bicara Sejarah Sarawak pada hari ini merupakan salah satu usaha murni untuk mendokumentasikan maklumat sejarah negara. Antara objektifnya iaitu penganjuran pada hari ini adalah untuk menceritakan faktor kejayaan perjuangan kemerdekaan yang dicapai oleh penduduk Sarawak pada waktu itu, dan mengenal jasa perjuangan tokoh dengan mengambil iktibar teladan daripada kisah perjuangan berkenaan.
When it comes to history, there are various versions of the same story but told differently. Hence, this program is an important platform to encourage awareness for Sarawakians to be knowledgeable in regards to the verified history of Sarawak. The program was organized jointly between Nancy's Ministry, MOTAC, and the National Archives of Malaysia, who will act as the data keeper for future reference by historians and researchers alike.
Arsip negara merupakan penyimpan khazanah warisan negara. Bahan arsip yang terdiri daripada pelbagai jenis seperti dokumen, mikrofilm, gambar, peta dan sebagainya bukan hanya untuk disimpan dan dipelihara, tetapi yang lebih penting adalah untuk dirujuk dan digunakan oleh orang ramai. Arsip negara ialah antara tempat yang sering dikunjungi oleh para penyelidik untuk mendapatkan fakta yang tepat bagi membantu pengkajian mereka. Pelbagai kaedah diusahakan untuk melengkapkan koleksi bahan arsip bagi mengisi jurang maklumat sejarah negara. Jadikanlah arsip negara sebagai destinasi penyelidikan sesuai dengan fungsinya sebagai pusat penyelidikan arsip yang unggul.
Also present during the ceremony were MOTAC Secretary General Dato' Wira Dr. Norzari Hamad and the National Archives of Malaysia Director General Jafar Siden Abdul Rahman.
Minister of Welfare, Community Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development, Dato' Sri Fatima Abdullah, is confident that women candidates will not be marginalized in the next election. The Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu, or PBB Women's Chief, said the number of female candidates, regardless of new or old faces, will be announced by Gabungan Parti Sarawak Chairman Dato' Petinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg.
Fatima reiterated that she is confident in Abang Jo's judgment, as he always ensures that women will not be marginalized in politics. Fatima expressed hopes that one day the country could achieve gender equality in politics, and when the day comes, it would be a great success for women in Sarawak. Fatima said this after presenting aid to small and micro business owners under the Sarawak Ku Sayang Special Assistance BKSS 6.0, as well as handing over grants to the Society of the Blind Malaysia Sarawak branch at Bangunan Baitul Makmur 2 today.
Meanwhile, 7 incumbent assemblymen from Sarawak United People's Party SUPP will be defending their seats in the 12th Sarawak State election. SUPP Secretary General Dato' Sebastian Ting said the names of the 7 assemblymen will be submitted to Gabungan Parti Sarawak Chairman Dato' Petinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg in the near future.
Apart from Ting, who is standing in Piasau, the 6 other assemblymen are SUPP President Dato' Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian Batukawa, Vice President Dato' Sri Lee Kim Shin Senadin, Dato' Ding Kuang Hing Meradong, Dato' Sri Huang Tiong Si Repok, Dato' Francis Harden Hollis Simanggang, and Loh Ker Chiang Batu Kitang. Commenting further, Ting said in the last Sarawak election, SUPP was allocated 20 seats and he hoped the party will be receiving the same number of seats this time. He reiterated that SUPP will learn from the Malacca state election since it is the first to be held under the new normal set by the Election Commission EC, which had decided that campaign meetings would not be permitted. SUPP is one of the 4 parties within GPS, which, according to the coalition's Secretary General, Dato' Sri Alexander Nantalinggi, will be contesting in all 82 Sarawak state constituencies. Other parties in the coalition are Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB, Parti Rakyat Sarawak PRS, and Parti Democratic Progressive PDP.
State Secretary Dato' Amar Jal Samion now heads Sarawak Disaster Management Committee, or SDMC, as its interim chairman. The matter was officially disclosed by Local Government and Housing Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian in a Facebook post last night.
Dr. Sim added that following the dissolution of the State Legislative Assembly Dun on Friday, Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Douglas Uga handed over the SDMC chairmanship to the State Secretary. At the same time, he calls upon everyone to continue to lend their support to the interim SDMC chairman for 60 days until after the 12th state election. Meanwhile, Dr. Sim, who was advisor of SDMC before the Dun dissolution, also said that it has been his privilege and honor to be a part of SDMC during the challenging time of handling COVID-19 pandemic.
Akan berfixin items happy kerana abak tandang menua persen kau kuanting ingat kita yang memahami terutama di madah kecaranya and you can see
salam sejahtera
warnailah hidupmu tampilkanlah bakat baru Sarawak pasti maju menginspirasi duniamu.
Setakat suku ketiga tahun 2021, Kerajaan Sarawak telah mengutip hasil pendapatan sebanyak RM5.833 bilion. Kebanyakannya datang daripada sumber-sumber berikut: cukai jualan negeri RM2.395 bilion, pampasan tunai bagi hak-hak minyak dan gas RM1.287 bilion, dividen RM720 juta, faedah dan pulangan daripada pelaburan RM325 juta, pembayaran balik dan geran persekutuan RM235 juta, risit perhutanan RM223 juta, premium tanah RM212 juta, pampasan tunai bagi duti import dan duti excise ke atas produk petroleum RM120 juta, royalti air mentah RM145 juta, sumber lain seperti royalti pelombongan, jualan air dan sewa tanah RM171 juta.
Hai semua, jangan lupa saksikan Inspirasi TVS segmen berita yang mengetengahkan laporan berkaitan rakyat, hiburan serta topik trending.
Inspirasi TVS dan saya Melissa Francis.
Saya Harry Francis.
Saya Dewi Liana Suryasta.
Saya Bob Yusof akan menemani anda.
Saya Mahmud Ali Basha.
Saya Nana Shimi.
Saya Andin Indrawani.
Saya Karen Libau.
Saya Azam Pit.
Dan saya Tony Yusof.
Welcome back. Sarawak today recorded 499 new COVID-19 cases, a slight increase from the number of cases recorded yesterday. However, 483 of the total cases are under categories 1 and 2, while the remaining 16 infections consist of categories 3, 4 and 5.
The Sarawak Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, announced that with the new infections today, the total COVID-19 cases recorded in Sarawak since the beginning of the pandemic now stands at 244,114 cases. SDMC also reported 19 new deaths recorded from 23rd October to 5th November 2021. The fatalities involve patients infected with COVID-19 aged between 40 and 90 years old. SDMC also announced that no new clusters was declared in the state today. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health MOH today confirmed the detection of the first 2 cases of COVID-19 Delta subvariant AY4.2 in Malaysia. Both cases are import cases of Malaysian students returning from the United Kingdom. The students arrived in Malaysia on October 2nd and underwent the RT-PCR test, and it was found to be negative for the first sample. However, both tested positive for the second test, taken on October 7th. The AY.4 variant is one of the 75 Delta subvariants. Also known as Delta Plus, the AY4.2 variant has 2 additional mutations on the spike protein. The UK Health Safety Agency has declared the AY4.2 as a variant under investigation VUI on October 20. In a Facebook post, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah assures that COVID-19 vaccines used currently are effective against the variant.
The first reading of the bill to amend the federal constitution so as to be in accordance with the 1963 Malaysia Agreement MA63 was presented in the Parliament sitting on November 3rd. According to Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Sri JUNAIDI Tuanku Jaafar, among the proposed amendments are the amendment to the definition of Sarawak natives under Article 161A of the Federal Constitution. He said with this amendment, the power to decide a person's race that can be recognized as a native can be determined through state laws.
This effort is welcomed by renowned SUPP player Alena Murang, who is also a Sarawakian. Alena said this effort is something that Sarawakians look forward to, especially those who were born from a mixed marriage family.
Sarawak prides itself so much on mixed marriages, and if this bill is passed, it means that people like myself who have one native Sarawakian parent and one parent who is not native Sarawakian, we will now be considered as native. And prior to this, we weren't considered as native or Bumiputra by our state. So it's something that I really hope will be seen through and we can be reconciled with who we really are as native people of Sarawak.
At the same time, Alena praised the government for its efforts in defending the rights of the people of Sabah and Sarawak in line with the spirit of MA63.
MA63 represents the restoration of our rights, the restoration of the rights of Sabah and Sarawak in the Federation of Malaysia. It was just what the original intent was. And I think moreover, this whole thing just shows us that our leaders today have been fighting for something that is bigger than ourselves, and we've been fighting together for something that is right, something that is rightfully ours. And I think that for the youth of Sarawak, that is a great example from our leaders today.
The second reading of the bill will be presented at the Parliament sitting being held now. JUNAIDI said the reading of the bill was the first step in the effort to restore the basic rights and principles that form the Federation of Malaysia.
Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today launched the Sabah Eastern Zone Pan-Borneo Highway for the Sandakan Kinabatangan Beluran to Lupit alignment. The Prime Minister said the 877 million ringgit project involves 3 packages stretching over 58 kilometers.
The project involved road upgrading works from a single to dual carriageway, construction of 3 bridges, and a multi-level interchange. Once completed, the route would provide a comfortable, efficient, and safe land access to residents. Also present were Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Sabah and Sarawak Affairs, Datuk Sri Dr. Maximus Ongkili, Deputy Sabah Chief Minister, Datuk Sri Bung Mokhtar Radin, and Deputy Works Minister, Datuk Arthur Joseph Kurup. The construction for the project started this month and it is scheduled to be fully completed in 3 years in October 2024. He said the route would also facilitate logistics and marketing of agricultural produce in Telusit and would also help promote tourism around Sandakan.
Hai, nama kami Richie, memegang watak sebagai Bob dalam drama bersiri Tilik-Tilik Cinta. Jangan lupa saksikan hanya di TVS, saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV.
Pemain gasing terhebat di seluruh dunia akan bertarung di Akademi Super Spin untuk gelaran Raja Super Spin. Mampukah Meteor mengatasi peserta hebat yang lain? Saksikan aksi Meteor dan rakan-rakannya dalam Super Spin Combiner setiap Sabtu dan Ahad jam 8.30 pagi hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV. Belanjawan Sarawak 2022 dengan tema Bersatu Membina Masyarakat yang Cekal, Inklusif dan Progresif. Ia dirangka dengan mengambil kira 8 teras strategik bagi mempercepatkan pertumbuhan ekonomi, merangsang pelaburan swasta, menjana pekerjaan menerusi pelaburan awam dan membina ekonomi yang menjana pendapatan dan lebih berdaya saing, iaitu melindungi kehidupan dan punca pendapatan, mengemudi pemulihan ekonomi, memudahkan dan memelihara pemulihan perniagaan, mengubah pertanian dan ekonomi luar bandar, membangunkan modal insan, mempercepatkan penggunaan digital dan data, mengimbangi pertumbuhan ekonomi dengan kelestarian alam sekitar, mempertingkatkan penyampaian perkhidmatan dan kapasiti kerajaan.
Thank you for staying with me. Now, some residents of remote communities in Peru's Amazon rainforest say they haven't heard of the COVID-19 pandemic until health workers arrived by boat to the village with vaccines in October.
Apu Mariano Quisto heads a remote village in Peru. He says he was unaware of the COVID-19 pandemic until Red Cross workers came to vaccinate members of his community. Quisto is a member of the Urarina indigenous group. With a population of just 5,800, they live in isolated villages without electricity in the dense Peruvian Amazon rainforest. It's a challenge for government health workers and the Red Cross to reach them. They have to take a 3-day boat ride from the city of Iquitos, which is the largest city in the world that can only be reached by boat or plane. Officials brought 800 COVID-19 shots with them. However, many residents complain, saying that what they needed were other types of health care. Not all communities have been spared from the knowledge or impact of the pandemic. Locals report at least 5 people have died of COVID-19. Quisto says less than 20% of Peru's indigenous population has been fully vaccinated compared to the 50% vaccination rate in the rest of the country.
And decades after the death of the nefarious drug lord Pablo Escobar, the remnants of his private zoo, including a family of hippos, survive, leading to a growing concern of overpopulation. However, authorities found an ingenious method to control the hippos population by using contraceptive darts normally used for controlling deer populations.
The hippos were imported to Colombia in the 1980s, and the original hippo population of 4 has grown to about 90 since then. Biologists are concerned about the animal's environmental effect and its potential threat to humans because of its growing population. The hippo's waste threatens water environments, and the animals may attack people and destroy crops, according to a study published in the Journal of Biological Conservation. Officials said neutering the animals through surgical sterilization is risky and costly. Cornair, the regional environmental agency, shared a new project that they were undertaking to bring the hippo population down to a more manageable number. The agency said that 24 more hippos have been treated using a DART method filled with contraceptive drug Gonacon.
Inicialmente estamos haciendo la primera implementación. Vamos a implementar el máximo de individuos que podamos y vamos a tomar muestras de heces. Luego vamos a analizarlas en el laboratorio de Wildlife Services para mirar las concentraciones de hormonas masculinas y femeninas. En 6 meses vamos a volver a implementar nuevamente el Gonacon y nuevamente a tomar muestras fecales. Entonces, en un proyecto que va a durar entre 2 y 3 años, vamos a esterilizar. Deseamos esterilizar el 100% de hipopótamos.
Scientists are now evaluating the success of the contraceptive. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service donated 70 doses of the adapted Gonacon contraceptive to DART the animals. Officials from both Colombia and the U.S. expect the darting campaign will help stop population growth before the hippos' population are in the thousands.
And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. For the latest development, follow our website at TVSTVMY or follow us on our social media. Once again, I'm Douglas Elliott. Have a good weekend.